Welcome back to Money Mastery Now, the channel that helps you take control of your money, one smart habit at a time. If you want to master your budget, crush debt, and build lasting wealth, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. It's the end of the month. You get your final paycheck. You look at your bank account, and you have that familiar, sinking feeling in the pit of your stomach. You look at the balance, and you think to yourself, where did it all go? You know you got paid. You know you paid your rent and your car payment. But there's this huge chunk of your income, hundreds or even thousands of dollars, that has simply vanished. It disappeared into a financial black hole, a mysterious void made up of a few random Target runs, a handful of Amazon packages that showed up at your door, and a couple of takeout orders you barely even remember eating. You have no idea where your hard-earned money actually went. And that feeling of not knowing, that lack of control, is one of the biggest sources of financial stress and anxiety in our lives. What if you could eliminate that feeling forever? What if, at the end of every month, you could look at your bank account and know exactly where every single dollar went? Not because you were guessing, but because you were the one who told it exactly where to go in the first place. That is the incredible power of the system we are going to talk about today. Zero-based budgeting. Now, I know that phrase might sound intimidating, like something an accountant for a major corporation would use. But I promise you, the concept is incredibly simple, and it is the single most effective way for a beginner to finally get total control of their money. This isn't a restrictive, painful diet. Think of it more like being an architect for your money. Before you would build a house, you would first sit down and create a detailed blueprint. You would decide where every wall, every window, and every door would go. You would have a plan for every square foot of the house. A zero-based budget is simply a blueprint for your money. Before the month even begins, you are going to sit down and design a perfect, intentional plan for every single dollar you earn. The entire philosophy of this powerful method can be captured in one simple, memorable phrase. Give every single dollar a job. That's it. That is the core mantra. Some of your dollars will have the very important job of paying the rent. Our other dollars will have the essential job of buying groceries. And, just as importantly, some of your dollars will have the fun job of going to the movies, or saving for a European vacation, or buying a new video game. When every single one of your dollars has a specific purpose and a specific task to do, there are no unemployed dollars left over to just wander off, get into trouble, and disappear into that financial black hole. In this video, I am going to show you, step by step, in simple, easy to understand language, exactly how to build your very first zero-based budget. By the end of our time together, you will have a clear, actionable plan to transform your relationship with money from one of passive confusion to one of active, confident control. So, before we get into the nuts and bolts of how to do it, let's talk for a moment about why this method is so incredibly powerful. Especially for beginners who feel like their finances are out of control, there are a few key psychological reasons. The first reason is that it forces extreme intentionality. With other, more vague budgeting methods, you might have a general idea of your expenses, and then you have a big, ambiguous category called spending money. That category is the black hole. It's where money goes to die, without any real thought or purpose. With a zero-based budget, there is no miscellaneous category. There is no giant, undefined pile of cash. You have to look at every single dollar of your income and consciously decide, on paper, what is most important to you. Think of your income as a team of employees. In a vague budget, you might tell a few of your key employees your rent and car payment dollars what to do, but the rest of them are just wandering around the office, chatting by the water cooler, and getting nothing done. With a zero-based budget, you are the manager who sits down with every single employee, from the CEO dollar down to the intern dollar, and you give each one a specific, productive task to accomplish for the month. This process of assigning jobs, in and of itself, Completely transforms your relationship with money from a passive one to an active one. The second reason this method works so well is that it forces you to align your spending with your actual goals and values. This system creates a beautiful, clear moment of truth for you every single month. When you are creating your plan and you only have, say, $100 left to assign a job to, you are forced to make a real, conscious choice. You have several job applications on your desk for that last $100. One application is from ordering pizza and wings on Friday night. Or another application is from buying that new shirt I saw online. And a third application is from getting me one step closer to being debt-free. With a zero-based budget, you have to look at those applications and decide which one gets the job. You have to ask yourself, what is actually more important to me right now? It puts your long-term, important goals in direct head-to-head competition with your short-term, in-the-moment wants. And when you see it laid out so clearly on paper, it becomes much, much easier to make the choice that your future self will thank you for. The third, and most counterintuitive, reason this works is because of the freedom you find when you get to zero. The core formula of a zero-based budget is simple. Income minus expenses must equal zero. Now, to a beginner, that sounds terrifying. It sounds like it means you have no money left. It sounds like you are broke at the end of every month. But the reality is the complete opposite. It is the most liberating feeling in the world. The zero doesn't mean you have no money. It means that every single dollar has been accounted for. It means there is no more ambiguity. And this is where the magic of permission comes in. When you create your zero-based budget and you create a category called Fun Money and assign $150 to it, you have just given yourself an official, written permission slip. You have permission to spend that $150 on absolutely anything you want, completely guilt-free. When you go out to a nice dinner, you can actually enjoy it. You don't have that nagging voice in the back of your head asking, should I be spending this? Shouldn't this be going to my savings? That voice is gone. You can silence it by saying, no, it's okay. My savings dollars are already at work doing their job. My bill-paying dollars are doing their job. This dollar's specific job is eating this delicious burger, and it's doing its job perfectly. This is the ultimate form of a permission budget, because the plan itself grants you the freedom to spend. Okay, I hope you're starting to see the power in this philosophy. Now, let's get practical. Let's build your very first zero-based budget together. I want you to grab a piece of paper, a notebook, open a simple spreadsheet, or download a budgeting app. The tool doesn't matter as much as the process. Step 1 is to know your income for the month. This is the starting point. Everything else flows from this number. At the very top of your page, I want you to write down your total expected monthly take-home pay. This is the net amount of money that actually gets deposited into your bank account after all taxes and deductions have been taken out. If you have a stable, salary job where you get paid the same amount every month, this step is very easy. Just look at your last pay stub or your bank statement. If you have an irregular income, maybe you're a freelancer, you work on commission, or you work an hourly job with fluctuating hours. This step requires a little more thought. The safest and most effective way to budget with an irregular income is to be conservative. Look at your income from the last 3 to 6 months and use your lowest month's income as the baseline for the budget you are about to create. You will live off that baseline amount. We'll talk later about what to do in months where you make more than that baseline. For now, just write your total expected income number at the top of the page. Step 2 is to list all of your expenses. I call this the brain dump. This is the most time-consuming part of creating your first budget, but it is also the most enlightening. We are going to make a comprehensive list of every possible expense you have in a typical month. To make this easier, we're going to break them down into 3 different types. The first type is your fixed expenses. These are the costs that are generally the same amount every single month. They are predictable and easy to plan for. I want you to list all of them out and write down their specific dollar amounts. This includes things like your rent or your mortgage payment, your car payment, your cell phone bill, your internet bill, your car insurance, your renter's or homeowner's insurance, any monthly subscriptions like Netflix, Spotify, or your gym membership, and the minimum required payments on all of your debts, like your credit cards, student loans, and personal loans. Go through your bank statement from last month and make sure you haven't forgotten any. The second type of expense is your variable expenses. These are the costs that you know you will have every month, but the exact dollar amount changes depending on your usage and your choices. To figure out these numbers, you'll need to look at your past spending from the last couple of months and come up with a realistic average or a goal for each category. This category includes things like groceries. Be realistic, gas for your car, your utilities like electricity and water, which can change based on the season, household supplies like toilet paper and cleaning products, personal care items like shampoo and soap, and any pet-related costs like food or litter. For each of these, assign a reasonable dollar amount for the month. The third and final type of expense is your irregular or sinking fund expenses. This is the category that most people forget, and it's why their budgets often fail. These are the costs that don't happen every single month, but you know they are coming eventually. If you don't plan for them, they show up as a surprise and blow up your budget. A sinking fund is simply a way of saving up for these expenses over time. You set aside a small amount of money each month for a future purchase. What kind of things go in here? Things like your annual subscriptions. Maybe you pay for Amazon Prime or a Costco membership once a year. Car repairs and maintenance are a huge one. You know your car will eventually need new tires or have a problem, so you should be saving for it. Gifts for birthdays and holidays are another E. You know, Christmas happens every December, so it should never be a financial surprise. Travel or vacations are also perfect for a sinking fund. You need to create categories for these and give a small amount of money the job of saving for them each month. For example, if you know you spend about $600 on Christmas gifts every year, you should divide that by 12 and give $50 a month the job of saving for Christmas. I do this for all your predictable but irregular expenses. Step 3 is where we do the magic. We do the math and make it equal 0. You should now have your income at the top of the page and a long list of all your planned expenses. The formula is simple. Start with your income number, and then, one by one, subtract every single expense you listed. After you have subtracted everything, you will end up in one of two situations. Scenario A is that you have money left over. You have a surplus. For example, your income was $4,000, and your total planned expenses were $3,800. You have $200 left over. This is fantastic. But your budget is not done yet. That $200 is currently unemployed. It needs a job? You must assign it a job until your final balance is 0. You could create a new category called extra debt payment and assign the $200 there. Or you could add it to your vacation fund. Whatever you choose. You must give it a name and a purpose until the final number on your page is a big, beautiful 0. Scenario B is that you have a negative number. You have a deficit. For example, your income was $4,000, but your planned expenses added up to $4,150. You are short by $150. This is not a failure. This is incredibly valuable information. It means your current spending plan is unsustainable. And the beauty of a zero-based budget is that you have discovered this on paper before the month begins, not at the end of the month when you are out of money. Your job now is to go back up to your list of expenses and make some hard choices. You cannot change your fixed expenses, like your rent, but you can adjust your variable expenses. You have to look at categories like eating out, shopping, or entertainment, and decide where you can reduce the planned amount. Maybe you change your eating out job from $200 down to $100. Maybe you change your shopping job from $150 down to $100. You adjust and readjust these numbers until your final balance is exactly 0. You have now created a realistic, balanced plan for the month ahead. Step 4 is the follow-through. A blueprint for a house is useless if the builder ignores it and just starts nailing boards together randomly. The same is true for your budget. Throughout the month, you need to follow your plan and track your spending to make sure your dollars are actually doing the jobs you gave them. This is the part that can feel like work, but it's essential. You don't have to use a complicated system. The gold standard app for zero-based budgeting is called YNAB, which stands for You Need a Budget. It is specifically designed for this method, but you don't have to pay for an app. You can use a simple notebook in the envelope method, where you track how much is left in each category, or you can find a free zero-based budget template for Google Sheets or Excel. The important thing is to have a simple way to check in every few days and see how much money you have left in your variable categories, like groceries and gas. Now, we all know that life is unpredictable. No matter how perfect your plan is on paper, real life will always find a way to throw you a curveball. So, how do you handle these situations without letting your entire budget fall apart? Let's talk about troubleshooting. Problem number 1 is the unexpected expense. So, what happens when an unexpected but necessary expense pops up? Your car needs a new battery for $200, and you didn't have a new battery category in your budget. This is where your budget's flexibility comes into play. The phrase to remember is roll with the punches. This means you have to look at your budget for the current month and decide which other categories you can take money from to cover this new expense. You become a manager. Reassigning your employees, you might look at your plan and say, okay, I am going to take the $100 I had assigned to eating out and reassign it to car repair. And I will take the $100 I had assigned to my new clothes sinking fund and reassign that too. You have now covered the $200 expense without going into debt and without completely breaking your system. You are still in control. This is also why having that starter emergency fund we've talked about before is so crucial for bigger surprises. Problem number 2 is handling an irregular income. We talked about budgeting based on your lowest anticipated income. But what do you do in a month where you have a fantastic month and you make a lot more money than you planned? When that extra money comes in, it also needs jobs. The best strategy is to use that extra income to get ahead. You can assign it to high-impact jobs like making a huge extra debt payment or quickly building up your emergency fund. The most powerful thing you can do with an irregular income is to use your good months to save up a buffer of 1 full month's worth of expenses. Once you have that buffer, you can start living on last month's income. And this means on July 1st, you are budgeting with the money you earned in June. This completely smooths out the ups and downs and makes zero-based budgeting a breeze. And problem number 3 is that nagging feeling. This feels like too much work. I want to be completely honest with you. Your first 1 or 2 zero-based budgets will feel like a lot of work. You are gathering all this information for the first time. You are building the system from scratch. It might take you an hour or 2, and it might feel a little overwhelming. But I promise you, if you stick with it, by the 3rd or 4th month, the process becomes incredibly fast and easy. All of your categories are already set up. Most of your numbers are already there. You are no longer building from scratch. You are just copying last month's budget and making small tweaks and adjustments for the month ahead. A process that takes 2 hours, the very first time, will eventually become a quick 20 or 30-minute planning session that you might even start to enjoy at the beginning of each month. So, let's bring this all together. For too long, many of us have been passive spectators in our own financial lives. We sit on the sidelines and we watch our money come in. We watch it go out. And we feel like we have very little control over the entire process. We feel like we are just reacting to our finances, instead of directing them. Zero-based budgeting completely changes that dynamic. It takes you out of the audience and puts you in the driver's seat. It takes you off the sidelines and makes you the head coach of your team. It promotes you from a confused employee to the chief executive officer of your money. As the CEO, you are the one who decides the strategy for the month. You are the one who delegates all the tasks. You are the one who looks at every single dollar and tells it exactly where to go and what to do to best serve your organization, which is your life. This level of control, this level of pure intentionality, is the ultimate form of financial freedom. It is the opposite of restriction. It is you giving yourself permission to thoughtfully and deliberately build the exact life you want, $1 at a time. It's you deciding that your goals are more important than your impulses. So, as we close, I want you to start thinking like a CEO. What is the very first job that you are excited to give your money? Is it the job of debt demolisher? Is it the job of vacation fund? Or maybe you want to create a new department in your financial life called the Future Millionaire Fund. Let me know the first exciting job you are going to assign to your money in the comments below. If this guide helped demystify zero-based budgeting for you and made it feel more achievable, please give this video a like and subscribe for more step-by-step financial guidance. Now go out there and be the CEO.